delicious, yummy, yummy, and roll, delicious. Okay. Casper, the Spirited Beginning is a prequel to 1995's Casper. Alright, so I guess this was produced by Universal. It has the Universal logo when you put the disc in. It's accompanied by Casper Scare School. I don't really care about that, or something with it. I don't care about that. I don't know why they didn't do Casper Meets Wendy, but this was actually, it's distributed by Universal, but it's produced by Fox because, well, I remember this aired on Fox Kids back in '97, and you could tell that this was Fox because they put their product placement in it. Yeah. So, when I say prequel, I put these little thingies around it because this is in no way connected to the first film. There is no... Sorry, my water's sticking in there. There is no connection to the first film. It takes place in a completely different town where the other one took place in Whitstaff, Maine. Here, it's in a place called Deedstown. The only actor to make the jump from the last one to this one is Ben Stein, and he plays a grocery guy. It's not even the same character. By the way, get it out of the way. You know how there was gratuitous cameos in the last one? Well, we have cameos here too, because this was a made-for-TV movie. You have more made-for-TV cameos like Ben Stein, Sherman Hemsley, from the Jeffersons, Michael McKean from Vernon and Shirley, Lori Loughlin from Full House, a lot of sitcoms. She's one of the stars, though, but I had to throw her out there. Richard Moe from Night Court. Wait a minute. There's a lot of sitcom stuff going on. I'm a little confused. And Rodney Dangerfield, who is the other actor who appears here. But he's not playing himself, I guess is what he was in the last one. It's like, itch. He's playing the mayor of Deedstown. Yeah, I don't know. So there's two separate stories here. The first one is Casper. Actually, let's talk about Chris first. Chris Carson. He's been raised by a single father because of the 90s. You're raised by a single parent there. And his dad is struggling. His dad is played by Steve Guttenberg. This kid actor who played Chris would go on, I think it's after this, to play Dan Aykroyd's son in Soul Man. I think it was after. I think that was 98, I think. So, yeah. But, they're struggling to be a family. His dad is a workaholic because, of course, movies like this in the 90s, the dad was always a workaholic. And Chris is feeling left out because, of course, he does. But Chris, he's into the paranormal and the abnormal and ghosts and aliens and all that stuff. Because, of course, he is. Which leads him to hanging out at the Applegate Mansion. Yep, it's not Whipstaff Mansion, it's Applegate Mansion, where the ghostly trio haunts. Yes, Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch, not voiced by Brad Dourif, Joe Alasky, and whoever the other guy was. No, Bill Farmer, I think was the other guy. Bill Farmer does Stinky, Jess Hartnell is Fatso, which blew me away, and I don't know who did Stretch, but Goofy is Stinky. Jess Hartnell. But, yeah. Casper wakes up on a train not knowing his past, which you can sort of connect that to the first one. Oh, he just got all his memories back. But the problem is, he knew that Whitstaff Manor was his house. His family lived in Whitstaff Manor. Now you can say, oh, maybe after this he found it and brought the ghostly trio with him. Okay, sure, if it was in fact a prequel, which it's not, So Casper wakes up on a train. He doesn't have a memory, and then he gets booted off this train by one of the ghosts and finds his way to Deedstown, where he scares some people. Right. Now, the reason I say this is not a prequel is because when we first meet Chris, we see his room. And of course, like I said, we have the product placement for Fox. So, what's the first thing he says? He goes, "Oh, the shirt of the day is the X-Files t-shirt." Ching! Making that money from Fox. But on his dresser are some action figures, including ones of the big bad Beetleborgs, which was on the air in 1997. If this was a prequel, Dave wouldn't be there because the first film took place in 1995, and I'm not buying that took place any time after. I'm sorry. No. They messed up. Kind of like Texas Chainsaw 3D messed up by having a 25-year-old place one who was supposed to be 40. I'm just saying. But yeah, there's no way that this is actually a prequel. In my opinion, it's a reboot or a remake. Where, you can put this and Casper Meets Wendy in the same little nugget of they're not connected to the first one. They were made. This one was for Fox Kids, the other one was for Fox Family. And Kathy Moriarty plays a different character in that one. I think I already mentioned that in the first movie, but yeah, it's just they didn't care about any continuity anywhere at all. So, being this is a movie in the 90s with a kid who has a bad home life, he's got a bad school life too. So we have Discount Zachary Ty Bryan as his bully. I mean, look at this kid. It's like they cloned Zachary Ty Bryan, but they didn't have the right chromosomes to finish, and so he's just a discount Zachary Ty Bryan. And speaking of Beetleborgs, the girl was the first Joe on Beetleborgs. The first, female that they changed actresses. I don't know why, but she was the first Joe on Beetleborg. Yeah. So of course Chris has bullies because every kid's movie has to have bullies because we can't have any other device. And do they use this? Boy, do they use this as a device to move things along. It's a plot mover, this thing. Because first of all, they bully him, but then later in school they try to act like he's cool, and they try to drop this water balloon full of gunk on him, but it hits the principal. And then they point out Chris is the one who did it, even though he's standing right next to the principal. And the principal just grabs him and says, "You're in trouble." But if it ain't for Miss Fistergraph, which is the weirdest name I ever heard, played by Lori Loughlin, he would have been in big trouble. She knows that he didn't do it. I guess maybe she saw it from afar. I don't know. But I just don't get how. I just don't get it. Although Brock, that's Discount Zachary Ty Bryan, gets it later when Casper gets back at him, and he gets okay. So at this point, Casper shows up in the bathroom and scares the principal by accident. So he freaks out. And he's trying to tell people there's a ghost. Then he runs into Brock, who is on this, like in the library you have those carts, carry books, one of those things. He comes flying on there with a fire extinguisher, and then he punches him and acts like Brock is the one responsible for the ghost, which is because, oh, look, white foam. Oh, you were the ghost. I don't get that, but okay. So Chris likes to go to the Applegate Mansion, right? Of course, his dad is... Okay, I still don't understand what his dad's job is. He's not a demolition. He's in charge of tearing down buildings and building new ones. He's going to tear down the Applegate Mansion and end up building a mini mall. Apparently a lot of people don't like it enough so that they're going to protest this. But look, if Casper and the Ghostly Trio didn't get involved, this thing would have been torn down because these protesters suck. So, meanwhile, in the ghost world, we meet Snivel, voiced by Pauly Shore. And I heard him voicing this thing, and I got flashbacks to, I'm alive! I'm a boy and I'm alive! Skitty, 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 skitty. Why can't I go out on my own? These Pinocchio flashbacks. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back there. No, go away. But, yeah, he reports to Kibosh, voiced by James Earl Jones, who's probably the highest paid person here. Probably. Hey, we'll give you $500,000 you do this Casper movie for us. And you gotta sit in the booth and do a voice. I'll do it. I don't know. He's in his defense, he's not bad. It comes across as just bad, as just evil character, but in a way, he's not as evil as Kerrigan was. He's basically trying to enforce the rules that when you die, you have to go to a scare school, which, but not all ghosts are evil. I mean, inherently, like there has been some case of poltergeist hauntings. But there also are just like nice spirits too. Obviously, if you were good in life, then you're a good ghost. You're not malevolent or anything. Benevolent, whatever. But yeah, and it's a rule you have to go to the scare school, but he didn't. And then Snivel spies on him. And it's a ghostly trio trying to scare him, but Casper, he's the friendly ghost, right? So when he tries to scare Sherman Helmsley, and this guy trying to rob the store, he scares the guy that robs the store, and Sherman Helmsley thanks him, and he becomes a nice ghost. And then we get our first big continuity error, as people are reporting on a friendly ghost in Deedstown. Although Chris's dad still isn't believe in ghosts. So, Chris's dad, Steve Guttenberg's character. By the way, what is this goatee that Guttenberg has? Was he trying to look like tough dad guy? I don't know. It looks like, how someone puts on marker for a fake goatee, and then you make out with them, and then that goatee rubs off on your face? That's what it looks like. I'm sorry, you don't look good. Sorry, Gutenberg, I love you, but it don't look good. So he's supposed to go to an open house, but he's flaked because of his job, and then so it's set up the next day as a wild and crazy guy night, where they're going to have a sit-down dinner for two, but also go to batting cages. Wild and crazy guy night. Ooh. But also they got a parent-teacher conference. And this is where you start to realize they are trying too much with making Chris's dad unlikable. They're doing way too much for this. As soon as he finds out that the teacher is the same person leading the protests, he decides, no, it's a setup, but I'm not going to go to this parent-teacher conference. Although he does meet with Bill Case, who is played by Michael McCain, who's going to blow up the place. And he does have a legitimate reason here, as his briefcase is set on fire, but the main reason is that he thinks it's a setup, so he doesn't go. Right, and he apologizes for the briefcase, the whole thing. But Casper does come in, help him set things up, and we get the montage to Delicious, which is the only other song by Shampoo I think that got released. The first one was Uh-oh, we're in trouble, something's coming along and burst our bubble, yeah, which is also a movie from my Power Rangers movie, which is also produced by Saban Entertainment, which is what this one was too. Connections, I guess. So Chris's dad comes by. By the way, there is a scene where Miss Fistergraph shows up, but it's all for goofiness as Casper tries to avoid her so she doesn't see him. I don't know. But Chris's dad comes home, and so Chris, like an idiot, so the ghostly trio realize they want to get Casper, to stop hanging around with the bone bag, and so Chris decides to have Casper wait in his room, and instead of just staying down there with him, it's the first time the writing room made me go, why didn't you just have him stay down there with you? Why did you make me go, huh? Why? Because this is where they had to write Casper to where he was out of the way so the ghostly trio could get him. It's the first time that they had to write something that didn't make sense to get a character to be where they had to be so something else could happen. Like, Chris says, you wait in my room by my window, and I'll come get you. Why not just, okay, wait with me, and when my dad comes home, we'll surprise him. He puts him all the way up in his window. Why? And then, so, while the crazy guy night gets way out of hand way too quick, he's like, oh, hey, we're going to go to a restaurant, Chinese restaurant. He's like, tore it down. Oh, yeah, but that's okay, Then he gets a call from the mayor. And immediately he's like, oh, I have to go. He's like, no, what? Let me show you my friend first. And then he goes to show him Casper. Casper's not there. Right. And so then Chris's dad has a big freak out, tearing down all his posters and all his stuff about aliens. And just, again, they're trying too hard to make us hate him. It's too much. And then he leaves and takes off, and then Chris, in the most inconsistent way, goes, Casper, how could you? Was that the best take we could do? No, we don't have enough money to do another. No? Okay. Sure. So, Chris decides to run away, because it's a movie from the 90s. Chris decides to run away, and again, they need to write something so that a character ends up where they need to be. But in this case, the character could have ended up there without the help of an outside force. So as he's trying to run away, the bullies show up to get revenge for what happened in the library, and they take Chris and they throw him in the Applegate mansion and lock him in a closet. Although the girl does sort of turn on them. I guess, I don't know. She doesn't want them to do it, but no. And that's, yeah, now he's locked in there, and we already know that Case has dynamite in there. It's going to blow the whole thing. So Casper gets away from the ghostly trio and makes his way back to Chris's house. Meanwhile, Kabosh and Snivel find a ghostly trio and lock them in a cage to try to tell them, to take them back to the sex school or something. I don't know. But Casper and Chris's dad finally meet. Chris's dad realizes that, his son was telling the truth the whole time, and I gotta figure out where he is. And Casper goes, he's probably at the Applegate mansion. What? That's gonna blow up in 15 minutes. It would have blown up before he got there. I'm just saying. He runs out. Miss Fistergraph just so happens to be driving by, so he hops in her car. They have a little argument. Then they get there, right? And then the amount of time it takes for him to get there and try to argue with Case, and Case is throwing shit at him and trying to figure out something, and then Sheila knocks Case out of the tree with her car, it would have went off. But, this is movie time where everything is not the same. And Casper ends up eating the bomb. And he was which scares some people, I guess. But, yeah. And so, Kabosh decides that they can stay together. Casper needs a training school, but then, and this is where it's a big middle finger to the first movie, although you could say it does work if you really think about it. They lie and say that Casper is their nephew. Now, in a way, it could be middle finger to the lore, but if you really think about it, now in the regular lore, where they're just ghosts, sure, they're his uncles. However, if you go by the lore of the first film, them being his uncles doesn't make any sense. It does if he found them after he was a ghost and they were taking care of him. Because he's only 12, right? So, it does make sense. They're his adoptive uncles. So that is the only thing that does make sense, but I still don't see where this could connect to the first film. Okay, they decide they're going to make the Applegate Mansion an historical landmark. Although they could have connected this to the first one if they were forced to leave, and one of the ghosts says, I know a nice place in Maine. There's your connection, right? Or, actually, we still got to tear this down. I have a contract. I have to do it. I'm sorry. Wait. Did I ever tell you about this place in Maine? That could be it. Something like that. Or, it's a historical landmark, but I don't know. This side's going to be a historical landmark, and the ghosts are going to live in it. They can sell as a haunted house. And then we get the Chris gets the girl moment. So first of all, she yells at Brock and the other bullies for locking him. And you could there's a bomb there. You could have killed them. They're like, cool. And she has one of the best and worst lines at the same time. Brock, you're a butt and you'll always be a butt. There's times here where it feels like they want to swear but don't. When Chris's dad finds out that Sheila Fisto guy was his teacher, parent-teacher conference, my Aunt Sally. I'm like, it seems like they wanted to say my ass, but couldn't. So my Aunt Sally. And if it was anyone but Steve Guttenberg, I would say it would sound silly, but it just feels right coming out of Guttenberg. I don't know why. It does. So, yeah. Movie ends with Casper and the Ghostly Trio living at the mansion. Kabosh and Snivel go away. By the way, there's a running joke where Kabosh keeps getting Casper's name wrong. Then the end of the movie, and Snivel has to keep correcting him, even though he doesn't like being corrected. And at the end of the movie, Snivel gets it wrong, and Kabosh has to correct him. That's the punchline. But, yeah, this wasn't terrible. I'm going to give it the middle of the road. I'd still watch the first one over this one. By the way, credit song. Don't go changing, rearranging. Hold on to a love sensation. It was the music by 911 was the group. And they had music video on the VHS, because I have the VHS somewhere, but they had the music video on the VHS. That was released by 20th Century Fox. The VHS was. Yeah, this VHS was by 20th Century Fox. I also have Casper Moves Wendy somewhere too, I think. Do I have the original Casper somewhere? I don't remember. I don't know. If it is, it's probably on that VHS with Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island and Ghoul School and Roly Poly Oly Noki Baby episode. So I don't know. But Rock. I don't know. But it's not as good as the first one, and it, for being a prequel, it obviously takes place in 1997, with everything, the way things look, all the product placement is clearly from 1997. The music and the attitude is 1997 as well. That is the music that comes after we're introduced to Casper. When we introduced to Chris. And, it's cheesy, but it's fine. So, what are your thoughts on Casper, Spirit at the Beginning? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.